Welcome back, class. Mr. Rasmussen here. This is lesson 9E, and in this lesson we're going to look at blood type and genetics. Now, blood type is a really fascinating thing to look at because there's a lot going on there as far as the genes level. As far as the genetics go, it's pretty exciting because there's a lot of different things that are going on there. And in order to have a good understanding of genetics, we need to have a good understanding of blood type and how we determine blood type. And not only do we need to know that, we need to know a little bit about anatomy of a blood cell, so we need to know what's going on the surface of these blood cells in order to make sense of it. So pretty exciting topic, pretty interesting. Well, we'll talk about blood type and genes. How do you get your blood type? In order to really understand this, we have to understand the difference between an antigen and an antibody. And they're really easy to get confused because they sound so similar. Antigen and antibody. So let's take a look at this. An antigen is a protein on the surface of the cell. So an antigen is a protein on the surface of the blood cell. And on the surface of these blood cells, there are two different types. There's either type A, so there's type A antigens, or there's type B antigens. And your cells are named for what your blood type is named for what type of antigens you have. If you have only type A antigens, you have type A blood. If you have only type B proteins on the surface, then you have type B blood. If you have both of them, you're type AB blood. And if you don't have any antigens on the surface, we call that type O blood. So we name your blood for what proteins are found on the surface of them. Antibodies are a little different. Antibodies are weapons that are produced by cells. So there are two types of weapons that are produced by cells. There are type A antibodies, and they attack A antigens. Okay, so the A antibodies attack A antigens, and B antibodies attack B antigens. And what antibodies your body is going to make depends upon what antigens your blood cells have. So you're not going to want to make weapons to attack your own cells. So if you have A antigens, you're not going to want to make A weapons. You're going to want to make B weapons, right? So an antibody is a weapon that attacks an antigen. It's going to help clot that cell or help to destroy that cell. In this case, it makes blood clot, or blood cells clot. So we got to make sure that our weapons aren't the same as our antigens. So antigens are the proteins, antibodies are the weapons that we produce to attack other cells. Okay, blood types. Let's just look at this real quick. So if we look at type A blood, it has type A antigens on it. Here are the little purple antigens. Type A antigens. Well, it's going to make antibodies to attack B. It doesn't want to make weapons to attack itself. Because it has the A antigen, it's going to want to make B antibodies. Okay, so it has A antigens and it makes B antibodies. Group B, type B blood, has B antigens, right? So they have B antigens on the outside of their cell, and they're going to make weapons against B. They're going to make weapons against A, because they don't want to attack themselves, they want to attack everybody else. If you made B weapons, they'd end up attacking and causing their own cells to clot, which would be bad news. Now, type AB blood over here, they have both A antigens and B antigens. So the problem is they can't make any antibodies. They can't make them. Because if they make antibodies, they're going to end up attacking their own cell. So they can't make any of them. And then type O has none. So they can make everything. They don't have to worry about attacking themselves. So their body ends up making both weapons. Both weapons. This is why donation is important. So if you have type A blood, you can get a type A donation, right? Because you don't make weapons to attack it. The only donations you can't get have B in them, because you're making weapons against B. So if you have type A blood, you can't get a B donation. It'll cause that blood to clot because you're making B weapons. And you can't get AB blood because it has the B antigen, so it'll cause it to clot. But you can get O because O doesn't have the B antigens. Okay? If we look at the weird ones are A and B. Group AB, so AB, if you have AB blood, you don't make any weapons. None. Zero, zip, zilch weapons. Which means you can get donations from everybody. You can get A blood. You can get B blood. You can get O blood. It doesn't matter. You can get anything because you don't make any weapons. But you can only give to somebody who's AB. If you give to anybody else, your blood will clot. So AB is what's called the universal recipient because they can take anything. They can take any type of blood. O, on the other hand, is called the universal donor. We can give O to anybody because no one makes weapons against O. So O is what's called the universal donor. The problem with O is they can only receive donations from O, though. If you have type O blood, you can only get type O blood because you'll make antibodies to attack them. Okay, so that's blood type, antigens, antibodies. Let's talk about the genetics of it. The genetics of blood type is fairly interesting. There are three alleles that are going on here. So you can either have the dominant I, so I write this with a capital letter, so it's a dominant I, A, or type A dominant allele. Okay? Or you can get the dominant allele B. So there's two types of the dominant allele. We call this codominance. If there are two dominant alleles, and when they're shown you see both of them, that's called codominance. Okay? And it also shows multiple alleles because it has a third allele. So anytime we have more than two, normally we just have big A, little a, right? That's two. Well, anytime we have more than two, in this case we have three, it's called multiple alleles. So this genetics of blood type have a lot going on here. They're codominant and they're multiple alleles. And what combination of these you get determines what blood type. For instance, if you get this, if you get two of these, dominant A, you're going to have A blood type. Or if you get dominant A and the recessive over here, so if you have I, A, and the recessive, you're also going to have A blood type. Does that make sense? Same with B. If you get I, B, if you get two of those, you'll have the dominant. Or if you have this, you'll also have B blood type. AB blood type is when you get both of the dominants and they appear together. So you get IA and IB. That shows up as AB blood type. Or O-type blood is if you get the two little i's. So that's the genetics there. So there's multiple alleles. We have three alleles we're working with. And there's two dominant alleles, and they're codominant. So if you see them, they both work together. Or you'll see both of them in this case down here. Okay, let's do one genetics problem, and then we'll be done for today. Here's our genetics type. Type AB man, so here's one parent, AB, has children with a woman who is type O blood. What is the chance that their children will have type AB blood? Well, the only way a man could have AB blood is if he has both dominant alleles. If he has IA and IB. Okay, and we're crossing that with a woman who has type O blood. The only way you can get type O blood, it's making them disappear again, is if you have the two recessives. Down here, the two recessives. So that's what we're looking at. That's the cross that's going on, an AB man crossed with a recessive female. So if I draw the Punnett square for that, over here we'll make a Punnett square. Okay, and so we'll put this parent up here, big I A, big I B, little I, little I. And if we fill this out, we'll realize that only these two boxes here, big I A recessive and big I A recessive. So we realize that when we're looking at this, that only these two children over here are ending up with the with type A blood. That's what we're looking for. So these two children have type A blood. These ones would have B blood because they're going to get the B and the recessive. So they'll have B blood, so these do not count. So we're looking at 2 out of the 4, or 1/2 of the offspring will have type A blood. So if an AB man marries an O female, half of their children are going to have A blood and the other half of their children are going to have B blood, or that's the probability. Okay, if you have any questions about this class, feel free to ask me in class. I know we're plugging through these genetics problems, so I hope this one helps. Helps clear up some confusion, but That's the story. Thanks, class. Have a good one. Bye.